So the media is continuing with their hair on fire, outraged coverage of the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Let me show you this here. Alex Thompson says, "New. The West Wing is looking increasingly disconnected from reality as the Biden White House strives to project a sense of calm competence, even as the Taliban tighten their grip on Afghanistan and chaos grips the airport." By Lara Seligman and Alex B. Ward. So you can see how melodramatic they're being. Politico, this is the article he's referring to. The definition of gaslighting. As chaos unfolds at Kabul airport, Biden team projects calm. Quote, "I don't think the president's rhetoric matches the conditions on the ground," one former State Department official said. I've seen this elsewhere too. They go right to a CIA guy who's like, "This is bad, we shouldn't have done this." Why not go right to a representative of Lockheed Martin or Raytheon? This is really going to impact our profits negatively. I mean, this is not good for the people of Afghanistan. So look at the narrative that they're going with. Now, listen, early on, could you make the case it was chaotic? Of course you could. Of course you could. You had people hanging on to planes as the planes were taking off because they were trying to escape the Taliban. Is it a perfect withdrawal? No, it certainly was not a perfect withdrawal. I think that's fair to say. I think that's the right thing to say. However, I will also say, if you had this run on Afghanistan before the Taliban took over, you know what would have happened? The same thing. Chaos would have happened. Because it would have panicked the population, and the population would have rushed the airport again, and then the Taliban would have taken over while they were rushing the airport, and we'd be right where we were before, and it would be a similar situation. So it was almost like no matter what, you were going to have the Taliban take over Kabul, Afghanistan was going to become Talibanistan, and there was no way around it. And by the way, we've also pointed this out, the intelligence agencies were telling Biden you have 90 days to get them out. And then as soon as it fell in 11 days, the intelligence agencies went to their lackeys in the media, and the lackeys in the media were like, "Oh, the intelligence agencies were telling him it's going to collapse immediately." Wait, no, you were telling us 90 days before. Now you're saying immediately? What do you mean? It's almost like they're trying to cover their own ass and pawn all the blame off on Biden, and they're trying to make him look stupid for pulling out at all. It's almost like that's exactly what's going on. So, you saw what the media is saying now, how they're covering it. Chaos! This is crazy what's happening there. Let's nitpick this to death. Now, do you want to know the reality? Biden came out, he's been talking regularly on this to the American people, came out, he gave another speech, and here's what he said.
As of this afternoon, we've helped evacuate 70,700 people just since August the 14th, 75,900 people since the end of July. Just in the past 12 hours, another 19 U.S. military flights, 18 C-17s and 1 C-130 carrying approximately 6,400 evacuees, and 31 coalition flights carrying 5,600 people have left Kabul just in the last 12 hours. A total of 50 more flights, 12,000 more people since I updated you this morning. These numbers are a testament to the efforts of our brave service women and men, to our diplomats on the ground in Kabul, and to our allies still standing with us.
Over 70,000 people have been evacuated, and not a single American has died. We're withdrawing from Afghanistan. The Taliban took over Afghanistan. There's nothing Biden could do about that, unless you want to permanently stay there, which I don't. So we're withdrawing from Afghanistan. The Taliban takes over Kabul. The thousands of troops, about 6,000 troops we sent there to secure the airport, secured the airport. We've had 70,000, over 70,000 evacuated, and not a single American has died. I'm no genius, but that looks like a wild success to me. That looks like the best it could have possibly gone to me. Now, listen, I don't want to speak too soon. I guess the mission's not over yet. They're going to finish it on August 31st, by August 31st, and the Taliban says no extensions after that. Biden's like, we're going to finish it by August 31st. So, I'm not declaring victory yet, but to this point, Soon as we learned the facts on the ground that were not changeable and that were going to happen no matter what, it's gone as good as it could possibly go. Now look at what the media said about it and look at what's actually happening. Look at the difference. The withdrawal from Afghanistan was the best, smoothest, most organized part of the war in Afghanistan. Every other part was more chaotic and more dangerous and more extreme. And you would know this if you were familiar with the actual evidence of what happened on the ground there. Now, you're probably not. You guys might be because you watch this show, but most people are not because you didn't have the next level media scrutiny with the war itself. We're going to get to a story later. Trillions of dollars to the military-industrial complex and defense contractors. And it was basically these no-bid contracts robbing the American taxpayer. This was one of the points of the war. Elites got phenomenally wealthy off of this war. They don't want that gravy train to stop. You had the fake puppet government in Afghanistan. Ghani, the fake president of Afghanistan, ran out the back door with nearly $170 million in cash as the Taliban was marching to take over Kabul. The whole effort was fraudulent. The whole thing was a grift. And by the way, the other reason why we're there, the natural resources, trillions of dollars in mineral wealth in Afghanistan that the Taliban is now sitting on. CNN admitted that the other week. They haven't said anything about that at all to this point. Now they're saying stuff about it. So the reasons why we were there were fraudulent, and some people got phenomenally wealthy off of the war, and the Pentagon and the CIA, they wanted to do permanent military occupation. We were allying with warlords who have child sex slaves. They didn't nitpick that 1/10 as much as they're nitpicking the withdrawal, and the withdrawal, based on these facts, seems to be going pretty fucking smoothly, wouldn't you say? More than 70,000 that have been pulled out since, I think, August 14th. 70,000 and not a single American death. To this point, that's a success. That's a success. Now, again, you're not going to hear this perspective anywhere else. Anywhere else. Because now, the media is beholden to their CIA operatives and contributors and the Pentagon, and they're just stenographers to the deep state who want this endless war. And so that's why you're getting the hair on fire coverage, the outrage coverage, nonstop. Nonstop. I'll say it again, and you're going to hear me say this a million times. Afghanistan was going to fall no matter when we left, so it's better to rip off the Band-Aid quickly. It's better to rip it off quickly. Credit to Joe Biden for an orderly and safe withdrawal where not a single American has been killed. Massive credit to him on that. And in a world that made sense, the media would be pointing that out endlessly. And so his approval rating would be going up for following through with the will of the American people, by the way. 63% want to get out of Afghanistan. But Joe Biden's approval rating is plummeting on Afghanistan. How can that be? Because of media propaganda like the stuff I just showed you. But you remember the facts, because the facts are important, and that's what the media should be saying. Over 70,000 taken out and not a single American dead? I don't know how it could have gone any better after the initial fall of Kabul.